Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk about something interesting, well, not refreshed basically, but we have a new model from Deepcool, and this is the LS720 in white version, the 360 AIO, which will be cooling today 12900K. So it will be quite interesting to see the results and how it performs in that case scenario. So let's go. Before we dive into any details about thermals and anything else, basically, we just have to talk about some specifications and some cool features that this AIO has, which you will definitely love. And I'm not joking. So right here we have three 120mm fan. These are FC100, and these are really special in terms of connectivity. So what they did is shorten the cables, yet they gave us some way of connecting it more easily. So basically, let's imagine we have a radiator over here. You use the cable and simply connect it like so. Basically, you don't have too much cables running around, and it's quite easy to connect them just by daisy chaining them together. And you can use more fans to daisy chain basically, and finally going with the last one, connecting it where you need to. But of course that's not all, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have quite interesting pump block top, which really does look quite nice. And here's the thing, you have a top that is possible to rotate depending on how you place your pump on your processor. So also depends of the tubes and the rams and the ram clearance. So this is quite cool because it gives you a possibility to adjust everything properly and to have nice OCD free PC build. The radiator thickness is quite standard, I would say 2.5 centimeters. It doesn't go into thickness like Arctic with much thicker, and Fantex as well. But you do get some cool things in addition to everything. You get a top cover which you could change on your AIO pump top, and you could actually customize something else if you want to place it here. You could do that. Of course, standard screws, spacers, thumb screws, and of course the plates that are attached to the AIO when placing on the processor. And finally we have an Intel backplate because you use the original backplate that comes with AMD. Now, talking about additional stuff, we have some cables that are actually quite handy in this scenario. So we have shorter cables, and just because of this, you can see the length of this cable is around 15 centimeters. You have an extender, which is quite normal and logical. And on this side, we have some sort of a, let's say this is SATA power. Here we have a 4-pin PWM header for speed of the fans. We have 3-pin 5 volts addressable RGB header to adjust the lights. You even have a splitter so you can connect something else on this one. And finally you have the 6-pin header where you connect your splitter. Now on the pump top you have 3-pin DC connection, and also you have this 6-pin header, which is basically only 3-pin just for the lights, because this is 6-pin for addressable RGB and for the fan speeds, and this is only for the addressable RGB. But since you don't have here, I would say you don't have here some two-way splitter for the 6-pin, you'll have to most likely connect the pump to the fan, and then the fan connect to the extender, I would call it, and then to this part. It looks a bit difficult, but believe me, it's not. It's quite easy. So yeah, now I think it's time to do the test and check out what we can expect with the LS720 360 AIO with standard thickness of the radiator, and check out the noise, of course, and the temperatures of 12900K. So in terms of building procedure with LS720, it's fairly easy basically. For Intel specifically, since I use 12900K, you do get a backplate that you need to specifically, let's say, reorganize or place those standoffs just for the LS720. After that you place additional standoffs that actually are mounting the CPU block on the CPU, and then you place the locking nuts. That's it. It's fairly easy. As I already said, the thermal paste is pre-applied, but do be careful because the plastic that covers the CPU block and that covers the thermal paste can fairly easily fall off. So you might get some thermal paste on your table or on your foil plastic or whatever, or your cardboard box. It doesn't matter. Be very careful with that so you don't lose any thermal paste on the block, because you don't get additional one inside the box. Now, for some features, as you can see, you can place it on LS720, you can place on any past models of Intel Core processors, and you can place it on AM4 and AM5, which is really interesting because soon they are coming out, and this is practically really cool to have everything prepared for that. Now, when we're talking about temperatures, now 12900K is actually quite interesting processor because it can really pack a punch, but I do a couple of benchmarks when testing out a processor, and in AIDA 64 Extreme Edition system stability test, just with the CPU stress test, the temperature went up to 71 degrees Celsius. But when I placed CPU, FPU, cache and system memory, the temperature went up to 88 degrees Celsius, which is really outstanding, to be honest, because you get temperatures somewhat similar to Arctic 420, Liquid Freezer 2 and even Custom Loop. So that's quite interesting. I think Custom Loop even goes a bit lower, and I think even Liquid Freezer could go a bit lower than this, but it's quite nice to see a 360 with thinner radiator compete in those terms, and that's outstanding. Now for some specifications, we have 27 millimeters of radiator thickness, the material is aluminum, and the tube length is 41 centimeters. Pump speed goes up to 3100 RPMs, and the noise level is 19 decibels, which is quite outstanding, and that's quite alright when we're talking about the noise. Now the fan dimensions are standard 120 times 120 times 25, and the RPMs go from 500 to 2250, plus minus of course 10%. Fan noise goes up to 32.9 decibels when the RPMs are at maximum. As in any other Deepcool AIO so far, we have the anti-leak technology that helps the system achieve an automated pressure balance, which will definitely significantly improve operation safety of AIO liquid cooling system. This will prevent the AIO from leaking, even though I do have to be honest, I never had a situation where an AIO leaked, and I do have to mention that because I know some of you guys are actually afraid of using even AIOs in their PC builds just because of leaking, so there's that. Now, finally, what's left to say, I placed the radiator on front just because this case doesn't support 360 radiator on top, but I wanted to use a Deepcool case, and especially white, because it really goes nice into the color scheme, and I switched the 140 fan at the back and placed 120 that was on front, just to get, I don't know, more airflow. 1 at the back, 2 at the top as an outtake, 3 at the front as an intake, blowing air directly through the radiator, and you don't have to worry about air in the pump because the tubes are above the pump, as you can see. So there's that. I would say big thumbs up for Deepcool again with the LS720. The white is just color scheme because you have a black version as well, so that's that. I'll put the links below for the LS720 White 360 AIO addressable RGB, so you can check out the prices and all other details. And that's basically it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and eventually, and hopefully, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.